So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes. The police are searching for James Thomas.
Hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It is currently 12:23 Night Movie Gang. 12:23 p.m., so in the middle of the day.
Midday movie gang.
Midday Movie Gang. And my name is LC. I'm joined by Joseph here.
Hello.
Hello. And for those of you just tuning in for the first time, this is a show where we talk about kind of cult classic cinema, genre films, so like horror, sci-fi type of deal. This movie we're talking about today probably most falls into like the thriller, horror kind of vibe, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say thriller.
Yeah, thriller is definitely the biggest genre. Whether or not it contains legitimate thrills will be up for debate in this discussion.
It's already been discussed.
I want to get more. Hold up. Too many. I got a weird wire situation today. So today we're talking about Trap, which is a 2024. Once I can bring it up to the Wikipedia, is a 2024 American psychological thriller film written, directed, and produced by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yep.
The infamous, the famous.
Oh wow, really? I never could have guessed.
And M. Night, just from what, if you didn't know it was Shyamalan, would you pick up on that, or would you just think it was some?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Yes.
Yeah, his style is
just listening to the dialogue and seeing the people looking straight into the frame. Yeah.
Yeah, all of his signature moves.
The weird stilted dialogue.
Starring Josh Hartnett, Ariel Donahue, Salika Night Shyamalan, who plays what we think
the Nepo baby.
the Nepo baby, who at the beginning of the movie you think is going to basically be the background. So just to give basically just to summarize the premise of the trailer gives you of this movie. Basically, Josh Hartnett plays Cooper, who's a goofy dad, and he's taking his little daughter to a concert of this fictional artist, Lady Raven, who's kind of like a combination of Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift.
Just like a boomer's idea of a pop star.
Exactly, just a little teeny bopper show. And Josh Hartnett's character notices that there's all this like extra security around the premises, around the venue, which, by the way, I just want to say this off the bat, that me and Joseph definitely have a unique insight into the world of this movie, because we've
worked arena shows before.
Yeah, we both work in.
There's some bullshit in this movie.
There's some inaccuracies, and then there are also some things that I think are like, oh, that's kind of clever how they play with that.
Yeah, because they shot in a real arena, right?
Yeah, they did shoot in a real arena. I think the biggest thing is like it's not. With how big they make this artist seem in the movie, her production would be a lot crazier.
Oh yeah.
Than what is
that stage is super small for how massive of a star it apparently is.
Absolutely. Like there isn't really that much like set dressing. There isn't like the only real set she has in the movie is like the 3 TVs basically. But we'll get to that. So Cooper is revealed to be a serial killer like really early on. Also like in the trailer, it's revealed that he's a serial killer. Yeah. And it turns out that this concert is one big ass trap. It's the title of the movie. That is set for him.
Which, by the way, is because never mind.
Yeah, it's revealed he's a serial killer, and he finds out that this whole concert is a giant trap laid out for him. And the premise that the trailer gives you is pretty much that, like it's a cat and it's like basically like a cat caught in a maze, like a rat caught in a maze, where like he's this killer trying to figure out his way out of the situation and not get caught. And there's an additional measure kind of in the movie. It's like secondary to him just escaping. He also wants to escape without his daughter finding out the truth. Yeah, is definitely an element that's in there. I saw this movie for the first time. I forget exactly when it came out, just during the summer. Like 2 months ago, I think, at this point. And I just watched it again for the second time in Joseph's living room here. Yeah. It's available on digital right now to rent for $20, which we totally did. 100%.
We spent good money on this.
We gave our $20 to our Lord and Savior M. Night Shyamalan.
I think, was it Warner Brothers?
Yeah, I think it's a Warner Brothers film. Yeah, no. So watch it again, second time here, and I wanted to ask you, Joseph. We talked about it a little bit on the show before. Oh well, this is our first Shyamalan episode. We did the commentary on Signs, but this is the first main episode that's a Shyamalan film on his newest film. So tell the people your history of the Shyamalan and kind of your general thoughts on the guy.
I grew up watching Signs, and I liked Signs a lot as a kid, and I like it a lot less now if you watch the commentary.
Sign up for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Listen to that commentary.
And I think The Sixth Sense is a genuinely good movie, and I think that being such a good movie ruined him as an artist. I think he got a really big head, and he really got high on his own supply. But you know, I think in general, I like a lot of what he does, but then I also dislike a lot of what he does. So I think my theory about him that I've said a few times today is like he's only ever listened to like the positive feedback, and he's never really taken any of the negative feedback to heart. And I think the stuff he's bad at, he's always been bad at, and he's never gotten any better at. And I think that's frustrating because I think he could be a way better filmmaker than he is. Because like I said, I think he's not bad. I think he does certain bad things that really detract from his movies. But we'll get into specifics on that. How about you? What's your Shyamalan history?
My Shyamalan history. I also grew up with Signs.
Yeah.
Signs is a movie that scared me a lot when I was a little kid. A scene that we make fun of now. The scene in Signs when he when the alien comes out from the bushes in that like footage in Mexico. Like
yeah, I remember, yeah.
When we watched it, we laughed.
It's huge.
Yeah, when we watched it, we laughed at it. But that moment scared the fuck out of me as a little kid. And a lot of people, like you look up that clip on YouTube or whatever, you look at the comments, everyone talks about like, yeah, this scared the shit out of me as a kid.
And then we watch it now and we're like, oh.
It's a man in a green suit. But I just want to talk a little bit about what I think that part right there is an example of something that I think is is a big strength of a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's movies.
Yeah.
And I think Signs is probably one of the reasons why Signs is my favorite is because I think he's good at it. I think he's really good at presenting things in a way where like you don't have to show the whole creature or show the whole scene of violence or show the whole thing. You can just like he shows you things without showing like for example in that scene it's shown in a very lo-fi way as far as like
it's shot on like an old like a TV camera.
Yeah, like a news TV camera, and it makes it kind of feel more real in a sense that like if something like that happened where somebody spotted an alien on the news or whatever, like that was actually happening in that time, well right now we'd probably see it on TikTok or something, we'd see it social media, but like
4K,
but like back then that is probably how you would see it, you know, if you were just watching the news it'd be like a shitty cam footage of it, and that element of it of like kind of seeing it, not seeing it, like your little kid brain fills in all the details about like what the alien like looks like up close, and then unfortunately they do show you what it looks like up close later in the movie.
Very close.
It should have, in my opinion, like the alien should have stayed a lot more like in the shadows in that end confrontation. Like the most clear shot we got of that alien should have been its reflection in the TV, which
exactly
is my favorite shot in that movie. And you know, like growing up, like that movie definitely isn't as scary, but I do think that there's a lot of elements that give it a good atmosphere, like the what's it called? You know, just the music. I really love the score in that movie.
Yeah.
I just kind of the scenes in the cornfield, just when Mel Gibson's walking around the cornfield. Yeah. It's frightening.
There's really good atmosphere. I think aside from a few weird performances and M. Night Shyamalan specific, my main problems with that movie come from just logistics and just
plot stuff.
Yeah, just bad plot things that are like really easily fixed. It feels like
God giving them the signs
exactly
beforehand.
Yeah, it's just stuff that. And that's my problem with this movie too. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no. Every
stuff that like I feel is very easy to just think for like 5 minutes and find a fix for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies, I feel like he doesn't really know how to stick the landing as far as the like he sets up these cool premises.
Yeah.
And he has these movies about cool premises, but doesn't necessarily know how to stick the landing. Have you seen Old?
No, The Beach That Makes You Old.
The Beach That Makes You Old movie? Yeah.
Stealing a joke by saying that. But
Once again, it's a cool premise, and that one's a difficult one because it's based off of a comic. It's not an original M. Night, but it feels like an M. Night type of idea.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a perfect fit for him. I'm not going to say the end of that movie for your sake and the audience sake, but it also
get old.
There is more going on. There is a bigger twist.
Yeah,
and I definitely know a lot of people who, and you are going to hate the twist in that movie.
That makes me want to watch it.
Yeah. For sure. And and I grew up with his other movies too, like Unbreakable, that whole trilogy I really enjoy. I really like Split.
Yeah.
I think the main difference with how I kind of intake Shyamalan is I kind of see him. It's funny you mentioned George Lucas earlier. Mm-hmm. M. Night Shyamalan and George Lucas both have the feeling of like the weirdo kids who are always like making like really weird art and like coming up with like goofy stories, or something. And they're just the weird kids that you don't want to talk to, but they're damn determined at what they do, and they love doing what they do no matter. And they like
no
you said,
how bad they are at it.
Yeah. You said it's a thing where it's like M. Night doesn't listen to criticism.
Yes,
I think he's aware of the criticism. I just think I'm gonna do my movie how I like my movie.
Yeah,
type of deal. Like
you just think he has weird taste.
Yeah, I think he has weird taste. I think he has a
weird
perception of how people communicate.
He prioritizes things in an interesting way too.
Yeah,
I guess.
The things he chooses to focus on, like he has a lot of mental block. Like, okay, first off, something that Courtney talks about a lot with M. Night Shyamalan when we've gone through his, I was about to say discography, his filmography,
his discography,
his daughter's discography.
Yeah.
But you notice how all of his movies are about white people.
Oh yeah,
like he loves white people.
100%.
And the only time people of color really show up, they're either like massive
joke characters. A lot of the time,
they're either stereotypes or they're him.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, but no, like he's a filmmaker that, you know, just as far as even when it's the bad stuff in his movies, I have a good time laughing at the bad stuff there is.
Yeah.
Like in his movies, or like even if it's something that's like nonsensical and like totally like in this movie that goes against the good elements in this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin the good elements for me because the good elements are still there. And then the bad elements that are there, I can usually just laugh at.
Yeah. That's fair.
Some of his worst movies for me are like the ones where they are just kind of like purely bad in a way that's not fun. Like I don't know if you've seen Lady in the Water.
I've seen enough of it.
Yeah.
I think my problem is the stuff that's bad, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It affects the rest of the movie, and it affects how seriously I can take the good parts too. Mm-hmm. I think that's just the way I watch movies, where I like a holistic tone, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's my problem with like that's why I in my head, when I think of Science, I think, fuck that movie.
Because the end of
like,
it.
Despite this good stuff in it, I still have to think about like all the shitty stuff that negates the good stuff in my head, you know?
You feel more mad at a movie that gives you elements, that gives you kind of like hope and promise of something better.
Because I know you can do better than this. It's like, why are you not caring about the whole thing? I don't know.
It's kind of like a kid who like writes kind of like a mediocre paper or something.
Yeah.
Where there's some really good ideas like in the paper.
Yeah.
You know, just like, come on, you got to put more effort.
Yeah, exactly. Care about the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting balance. But let's get into the plot of Trap a little bit. So yeah, like we already said, the movie opens up with Cooper and his daughter going to this concert in the middle of the fucking day, which I didn't even think about the first time I watched it. Courtney kind of pointed that out to me, like, why did they go to the concert in the middle of the day?
Yeah, first weird point.
And I watched a review.
Broad daylight. Yeah,
I watched a review that said that that you see like a poster in the background or like some kind of like there's something in the movie that tells you that this is like an overflow show.
If that is in
for
the
like
movie,
the next day.
it is way too subtle.
Yeah.
It might as well not be in the movie.
Yeah, like
that's the problem.
Somebody said that was a thing, but that was not something I
Yeah.
caught on either viewing, and
yeah,
I was looking for
and
it.
if we don't catch it, then it might as well not be in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they go to this concert to see Lady Raven, and in these like first few scenes, the main thing we're kind of noticing is like Cooper, Josh Hartnett's character, is being this this goofy dad.
Yeah.
And you see him noticing all of the extra security lined up around the stadium. And what do you think about this first part of the movie?
That was interesting enough. It's definitely when I started noticing, like, wow, this dialogue and direction is very strange.
You definitely were pretty cold to it at first because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's another Shyamalan.
Yeah, because it's definitely it's showing a lot of it's that frustration that I'm talking about, where it's like, why is everyone talking like this? It's like, because like I know that he knows that people don't sound like this when they talk. I guess it's just not naturalistic dialogue, but it pulls me right out. It's like because it's not just it's the combination of the way he writes people talking and the way he directs them to talk. Everyone talks like this is a cliche, but they talk like ChatGPT is writing for them.
Yeah.
And then they the way they actually perform, they sound like I get Josh Hartnett's character. It actually kind of makes sense why he would talk like that, but everyone else, it's like why do you sound so phony?
Why do you sound so wooden?
Yeah, why do you sound like you're like faking?
Was it Reggie Jamie's like, I'm gonna be in deep crap?
Yes, yeah, that was a good example. I'm gonna be in deep crap. It's like, who talks like that? Who says that?
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of people do just like behave in ways that you just know for a fact that like real people don't.
Yeah,
you
just
know,
strange nonsense.
Yeah.
But I still I'm more vocal about criticisms than I am about things I like a lot of the time. And I gotta say, I do like the premise of this movie, the stated premise of this movie, but we'll get to it.
and when the movie is acting on this premise, which
exactly,
is basically like
I think that stuff is well executed.
About like most of the first half of this movie, I'd say. Like once it's basically everything from like, so getting to that scene. So so we're hanging out with Cooper and his daughter. They're waiting for Lady Raven, and as somebody who works in these kind of like live events, it's something I noticed at this point was like when they're watching the opener and no one's giving a shit about the opener.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of still getting to their seats, and the opener is just like three dudes on the stage with microphones.
And they're just like rapping to like really shittily mixed
like,
backing tracks.
Are they supposed to be up there?
Yeah, no, it was pretty funny.
And they walk in and we're both like, that's a really small stage.
Yeah.
This is a really like dinky set.
For how big Lady Raven supposedly is, like to sell out a show enough to do another show the next day.
Yeah,
supposedly.
Exactly.
But
and we're doing a show in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Lady Raven comes on, and Cooper like makes an excuse to. Oh, and Cooper, during her like first song, like we get a shot where he's looking around the stadium.
Yeah.
And seeing
there's
like
a lot of cops here.
Yeah, there's a lot of cops, but he also starts seeing like men getting pulled from their seats by the cops, like to get taken away. So he knows something's up. He makes an excuse to like, go to the bathroom or whatever, like buy her a T-shirt.
We get the big reveal.
And we get the big reveal from Jamie, this merch employee, this employee of the arena, who literally. Cooper's like, what's up with all these cops? And Jamie's like, well,
and he looks into the camera and he explains,
don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
We have all these cops around and setting a trap for them.
He says, you guys are good people.
Yeah.
You guys got morals and stuff. He says something along those lines.
You guys are good.
Very strange.
Good traditional family values, something like that.
I don't know what you mean by that.
And Cooper is taking all this information. And this is what I will say, even though the scene is stupid.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the elements of Josh Hartnett's performance that I really like. Because like you said, the kind of stilted dialogue and like the weird thing, like it does good because the moments where Josh Hartnett does let the kind of the killer loose.
Yeah.
The beast, and you see the cracks in the armor.
Drop. But I think the thing I don't like about it, he's speaking in like this weird like phony way, and you don't really know if like it's because you know he's a serial killer or not. But I feel like if I were to talk to this guy in real life, I'd be like, oh, that guy gives me the fucking creeps.
Yeah.
And I don't, and it's not really subtle either. Like I feel like even if I didn't know he was a serial killer, I'd be like, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he talking like that?
Why is he so weird?
Yeah, exactly. He's like changing his personality like mid sentence.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, yeah. I mean, like, and I think credit where credit's due. I think Josh Hartnett does a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, with what he's given.
Yeah, he does a great job. My problem is mostly with the direction, I think.
Yeah. This is definitely the case of an actor rising above the material. And speaking of, while we're on the topic of Josh Hartnett, I just want to talk a little bit about his filmography and where I was like, where the fuck do I know this guy? Because one of the things,
Pearl Harbor.
was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was the other guy in Pearl Harbor that wasn't Ben Affleck.
Well, the main thing I know him from, and like where I just found out just now looking at his filmography, have you ever seen The Faculty?
No. Oh, I know of it though.
Yeah, like it's like kind of a new Invasion of the Body Snatchers in high school type deal.
His '90s movie, right?
Yeah, he's like the main character in that movie, pretty much. Like
he was the pretty boy in the '90s.
Yeah, I didn't realize it, and I think a part of it too is that why I didn't recognize him is because he does look very different. Like,
as you get older, you just get more face. You know.
Yeah,
He's a good example.
Yeah, and it
just add more face to your face.
It kind of makes a little bit more sense why Kid Cudi was flirting with him in this movie.
Yeah,
because like he did kind of use.
He's such a classic pretty boy.
He used to be a heartthrob. Well, I think in this movie he looks like
he looks like a dad.
He looks like a normal dude.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, because I was like, and is he supposed to be like super attractive?
Yeah, because like I get it.
Kind of looks like a guy
in The Faculty,
like an actor, you know.
There he is in The Faculty, showing Joseph a photo.
Yeah, he was a pretty boy in the '90s.
Yeah, so like that totally makes sense to me. But yeah, no.
What the fuck was the point of Kid Cudi's character?
I don't know. Just to have a.
Why was he in? Just to have a celebrity in your movie?
Just to have another celebrity try to like.
Okay.
Well, because both of the I guess so during M. Night Shyamalan, Lady Raven.
Yeah.
Shyamalan's daughter, Salika Shyamalan, her concert, she has 2 guest artists come in, both of which are played by real. Like big pop musicians.
Yeah.
Russ, who's the first one.
Is it like to try to add legitimacy or something?
I guess maybe
or
to
it's
make
just like a little nod to the audience, like get it, music industry.
Yeah, I think it is more just like a little nod. But
enough.
yeah, no. In this movie, I definitely think Josh Hartnett is at his best when you kind of see the desperation start to boil in him.
Yeah.
During this segment, as far as like the more ways he tries to figure out how to get out of this concert and the more kind of fucked up shit he does, you see him kind of like get more nervous and get more on edge. He's trying to convince his daughter to do stupid shit.
Yeah, and that's when you kind of see the cracks in the artifice of this personality he's constructed.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a creep. He acts like one.
He is a creeper.
I love there's a part when one of the pop stars rises up out of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And like he turns and like in a weird way tries to convince his daughter like, wouldn't it be cool if we like went down in there?
And she's like, what the fuck are you talking
wouldn't
about?
It be cool? They like left it open. What do you think's down there? Should we go down there? And it's like, what? Why would you suggest that?
Why would you do that? Parker Wayne is that what character's
okay
name? No, that scene's really good, really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's talking to Jamie. Jamie tells him what's up. And then I think the first thing he tries to do is just try to like take his daughter out of the concert.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, let's go outside for a minute."
Yeah.
Also, yeah, can we talk?
By the way, yeah, I know what you're about to say. Why is everyone getting up and walking around the stadium the whole time this concert's going on?
Yeah, like the hallways are like flooded with people.
Packed. Like, what is everybody doing? Like, everyone's got to go to the bathroom and get a pretzel and get merch during the hour and a half the show's going on.
You mean the 4 hours? Because this concert, feels like it goes on.
Why
forever.
is everyone's like the worst possible attendee to a concert? No one can stay in their seats.
Well, here's the thing. I would use the thing of like, if it was only the parents and like adults out in the hallways, it would make more sense to me because like this is like a teeny bopper type star. So like most of the
it's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, you see kids running around, you see all that, like, but it makes sense because like
people buying merch.
Yeah. And then there's a scene where Cooper, was it he pushes a woman down the stairs and no one fucking notices.
Yeah.
Despite having all this extra security and extra cameras.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But then
Why is everybody out here? Like, I thought the show was over the first time they were out there, but then he just goes back in. And it's like, oh, it's still going on.
It's just always
What's everybody
going on.
do? It's like a music festival.
He even gets his daughter out of the concert like multiple times, and it's like, wouldn't she be mad that she's not watching the show? But yeah, no, there's the first like super unrealistic moment as far as like the one when I remember when I saw it in theaters, it was the first thing that like really took me out. Like super did was when Jamie brought him to like back of house to get a box of merch.
Yeah.
And while they're back there, like Jamie gives them more info. It's like, oh, there's a secret word that we're supposed to use. But you're a good guy. You're all right.
Yeah.
You're a firefighter.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Yeah, awkward as hell. Oh, we should also probably talk about the FBI antagonist woman.
Yeah.
The profiler. Yeah. You thought it was
She's
his mom.
kind of around. I thought that was gonna. For a brief second, it didn't make any sense. But I was like, are they gonna like find a way to make it so this guy? Because like, there's a big thing with like him and his mom, and they keep talking about it in the last third of this movie that shouldn't exist. But we'll get to it
once we get off the bus.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
But no, basically not to go through every single one, but this section of the movie is just seeing him like trying to like learn about his environment, trying to figure out ways to get out. Like he's stealing people's clothes and ID badges and walkie-talkies, and like you were saying, we have the Hitman 1 game footage up.
We do.
You're saying it just feels like Hitman.
No, I mean, yeah, it's. I'm so glad that you said that I'm not the only one to make this observation, because honestly, as a coincidence, I've been super into Hitman lately, and we were watching this movie, and I'm like, this is like, because I know that there are Hitman movies and they suck, but this is like a good Hitman movie. In places.
Yeah.
Like he causes distractions. He walks around. He takes disguises and puts them on. He takes key cards and gets in like back areas. It's like he does a bunch of Hitman shit.
Yeah.
It's almost like was M. Night Shyamalan playing Hitman when he made this when he wrote this movie?
I don't think he was. The main thing that that was the inspiration for this movie was the premise was inspired in part by Operation Flagship, which was a 1985 sting operation in which disguised law enforcement arrested 101 wanted fugitives at a convention center, having invited them under the pretense of gifting them free NFL tickets to win an all-expenses paid trip to Super Bowl 20.
Okay.
Is XX 20?
Yes, I think so.
Super Bowl 20. So like that event was partially the inspiration. And then another, like honestly, like a reason why the movie is what it is, why it's at a concert, is because like his daughter did want to kind of start her music career. Which, by the way, so his daughter noted
Nepo baby time.
that like some of her inspiration, because she also did the music for this movie. The soundtrack. Her influences were Adele, Billie Eilish, Rihanna, Rosalia, and Taylor Swift.
And as you know, M. Night Shyamalan's daughter is now one of the biggest pop stars in the world. So
yeah, everyone knows
it
her.
worked. Thank you very much.
Yep, everyone knows Salika.
No, she's a bad actress. I mean, is she a child? Is she a teenager?
I think she's in her early. I'm looking at.
All right.
Oh shit!
I don't want to make fun of a little kid.
She's 28. Make fun of away.
Okay, yeah, she's a nepo baby, and she's not a very good actress. Just like her dad. I'm being really mean right now, and I can see that, but I think it's frustrating because I think the better actress could have gotten this job, but she got it because she is related to M. Night Shyamalan.
I said Jenna Ortega before.
Yeah, she would have been great.
She would have been
good
perfect.
Actress. Even Zendaya. Probably not Zendaya because I've never been impressed with Zendaya.
I also would never see. Oh, you got to watch Challengers, bro. She's so good in that.
Yeah, I heard that's really good.
Yeah, Challengers is incredible. But what's it called? Yeah, I feel like Jenna Ortega of Scream fame, I feel like would make sense to be in a Shyamalan. Because I was about to say,
she looks like a pop star.
I don't see Zendaya being in a Shyamalan movie.
No.
I don't see that happening.
No, probably not.
Yeah, looking at Salika's, Salika Shyamalan, she just goes by Salika, like, as her artist name.
I bet.
looking at her discography.
No, I don't know if she's a nice person. I'm sure she's wonderful.
Yeah.
I just think it's annoying that she got this really big role.
Just because her dad
Yeah, because her dad is M. Night Shyamalan. I think that's gross.
Yeah, because her dad directed Signs. Yeah,
I think that's a very Shyamalan thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, especially as far as, like, yeah, that is a role that, like, an actress who has been working on could have gotten.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't do a good job in this, is another thing.
Once we get to that final third, which we'll talk about soon.
For the most part, I just thought she was just going to be in the... It's like, oh, that's nice. She just gave her, like, a little role.
She's in the
just gonna
background.
Be in the background, singing on stage the whole movie. That's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little nod to himself or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's like, no, this is going to be her total launch.
Yeah, no, this is actually a beefy, dramatic role.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why the last third of this movie exists? To give her something to do?
I don't know. I mean, I do know
that whole scene, I guess.
I think a lot of this movie is kind of like apparently they were inspired by I'm just reading about this. Yeah, like it's the film sprouted from conversations Shyamalan had with his daughter about combining the concert and theatrical experience in devising an album for a narrative, similar to how Prince wrote the titular album for the 1984 film Purple Rain. So
wow, that's really cynical.
That's an example of one, like a movie made from an album.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah, basically a long music video.
I feel like this would be a good vehicle for your music career.
A movie about this serial
I'm glad
killer.
I saw it then. I'm glad I saw this vehicle that you wrote for your daughter.
Yeah.
I think that's messed up. It's kind of the same energy as like After Earth, where it's like, let's write a movie where Jaden Smith can get a nice big role with his dad, and his dad's in it, so that draws people into, and it's bad, because nepo babies.
Well, I mean, it's a thing where it's like, how do I put it? She did put in the work as far as like doing all the music for this movie. Like it wasn't like he just kind of dropped her on, like, we're going to bring you on set for 3 days and you're going to do it. She was, like, an active collaborator in, like, the making of this film. Like, it wasn't... So. Yeah, no, it wasn't...
It's for her career.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, as not to dogpile and be extra mean. This will probably be the last negative thing I say about her. But the music up until now, if you hadn't told me that she wrote it, I would have thought that it was just like written as like stand-in pop music.
Yeah, it was like AI produced.
But it's also not the genre I listen to, so my taste isn't really conducive to this conversation.
Courtney listens to this kind of music, and they also found the soundtrack
generic.
pretty generic. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know.
Makes me feel better.
It's a thing where it's like I don't think anybody is denying that, like, she's a nepo baby. Nepo babies only super bother me when they are kind of deny, like, no, I worked for all this. Like, this is all...
When they're personally, like, a bad person.
Or, yeah, like, when it's like, no, it's all me. Like, I think
it's just an obnoxious thing to do.
Drew Barrymore did that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, Jamie Lee Curtis, when all the nepo baby stuff was coming out, she, like, tweeted that, like, it was really unfair. People, like... judging her for that. Like, she's like, I've worked for what I've got. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like,
honestly, like, and that's another thing is, like, I think my perspective is, like, if you're actually like a good actor or like good for this role, then I don't really have a big problem with it. But when you bring someone in and it's literally just because you're related to them and they don't do as good of a job as someone else could have done, that bugs me, because you're taking a job away from someone who could actually like kill that role.
Could have done it well.
Yeah.
Necessarily, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. I see that, but it's like, I don't know. It's not as bad as, like, for me, as there definitely a lot of performers who just don't take don't take credit. Like, we were talking about what's it called? Like, well, I guess this is a difference. Duncan Jones of Moon fame, the director, who is David Bowie's son.
Yes.
Being David Bowie's son definitely probably helped him financially be able to explore a career.
Probably would have been able to make that movie.
Yeah, wouldn't have been able to make the movie, but I guess it is. He didn't.
I mean, like, use your resources that you have, I guess.
Yeah. But I guess it's different than, like, he didn't promote the movie. It's like, hey, I'm David Bowie's son. Come check out my movie.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. He changed his name and everything.
Come check out, like, it'd be different. But he's like, no, this is, like, my movie. I'm a director. Duncan Jones.
Yeah.
No relation to anybody else. Yeah. So there is separation. Let's get off of the Lady Raven thing for a second.
Enough people have talked about nepo babies.
Yeah. I really like the bit where he turns up the grease fryer for the fries and throws the oil in there, and they explode on that lady's face. That was pretty cool.
Moment.
That was you exactly. You were like, stuck in here with me.
You're trapped in here with me.
You're trapped. And he used that distraction to grab the thing. Yeah, it was pretty
very Hitman.
And we see later though we see her burnt face, and it's not as fucked up. If this movie was rated R, it could have been more fucked up. I remember thinking like, oh, the burns don't look that bad.
No. Yeah, I mean, this movie didn't really need to be rated R. But
yeah.
On the other hand, I found it a little bit dull as far as the concept of this serial killer. Mm-hmm. I just never really grabbed me because there's nothing really visceral about it. Like I guess it's like an interesting enough character study toward the end when I don't really want it, when I'm just kind of like the premise is over and now we're starting to explore this character.
Do you mean like when they were getting into his mom, or like
when they're getting in, when he's talking both, all that, when it's like all the exploration of this guy's character happens after they get off the bus, as you say.
Yeah. That's gonna be my
that's
new
when
thing,
I'm like, I just want to the fun part's over and I'm just sitting here watching you jerk off.
If it were me, if I was our Lord and Savior M. Night Shyamalan,
yes.
How I would have changed it up is, if you want to still get the family stuff in there, make it that the whole family's going to the show.
Yeah.
Not just the dad and daughter, but the whole family's going to the show.
Yeah.
And that would also...
Yeah, exactly. There's like this big, long like conversation with his wife that we haven't seen until like a scene before this.
Yeah. They could have had that scene like in the... like if it happens where like he's trying to hide his family around the venue and he's like trying to convince them that like, oh, there's a killer running around, we got to hide or whatever.
Like we're in spoilers now. So like his wife is the one who called and like gave the tip that he was going to be there. Mm-hmm. What if that was his daughter?
Yeah.
Like his daughter doesn't really play a role. She's just kind of a prop the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then his wife is the one who has the big twist, and his daughter doesn't really have like any kind of resolution. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's frustrating filmmaking, M. Night.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. I think just like overall, if you had the whole family, and the son, I don't think the son has a single fucking line.
No.
I think he says to Lady Raven, like, I saw you on TV. That was really it.
Wow. That's his big break.
His big role.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like if he had the whole family there at the time, I think it would be a lot easier to be able to keep us at the venue if he had the whole family there, because there's just like a lot more room.
Yeah, he's getting pulled in a bunch of different directions, and then we wouldn't. We've been referencing the getting off the bus. Do you want to explain that? Yeah.
So about halfway through this movie, so Cooper finds his way to get out of the concert. He bribes and he lies to M. Night Shyamalan, who in this movie M. Night Shyamalan, his cameo, because he has to cameo in most of his films, he plays Lady Raven's uncle, manager type guy who Cooper goes up and talks to. Which, by the way, all the scenes where they're actually in the show and they're talking at normal volume, they would be fucking screaming at each other.
Yeah, they're all talking at like it, but that's in every single movie ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's not just movies. But the point is, he tells M. Night Shyamalan this sob story about like, oh yeah, my daughter, like she's she's got leukemia, or she just recovered from leukemia, like one of those two.
Something like that.
Yeah, like lies about his daughter having an illness, being like, and it would really make her night, or her 4 of the afternoon if
it's still light out.
Yeah, if you'd have her be the dream girl, and it works. And Shyamalan brings her backstage, and there's a cop that you said this sounded like an AI line where he's like, "We're gonna have to talk to him."
Yes,
and Shyamalan,
we should talk to him.
We should talk to him.
Yeah.
And M. Night Shyamalan's like, "No, he's with me." It's probably that one. We're looking at the Hitman.
There's
the
a
red
robot.
One. The red one.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So M. Night Shyamalan, the director himself, moves the characters along the plot. Like we have to moves the characters backstage.
Yeah.
While they're backstage, Cooper. There's the weird Kid Cudi moment which we talked about earlier. But then Cooper pulls Lady Raven aside.
Oh God! This is when the movie goes off a fucking cliff for me. By the way.
Yeah, no, it really just is all downhill from here.
This is continuing the trend for me with Shyamalan movies, where throughout I'm like, yeah, there's a few problems here and there, but overall I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it just drops so far and hard.
It's not even really the end. It is the halfway point in the movie.
Yeah, it felt like the end because it's the end of the premise we showed up in the theater for. It's like he expanded that problem into the whole movie. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So he reveals to Lady Raven that he's the killer. Shows him footage of this guy that he has locked up in a basement somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, from my phone, I can turn on the carbon monoxide and he'll die. And he's like, you're gonna drive me and my daughter out in your limo.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get out of here. No questions asked. And they do. And then the movie turns into this weird, like, where Lady Raven, M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, becomes kind of like the hero main character.
Yeah, bad decision.
And she's like, oh, Riley, can we go to your house? She says to the daughter.
I turned to you multiple times in this movie, and I was like, it's still fucking going?
There's still movie left?
It felt like this movie was ending for half of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like we've already thrown away the interesting premise of this movie, and now we're just stuck in this. Like, what's the premise now? A serial killer
versus a teeny
just
bus
tries
star.
to get away with it. Like,
yeah, no, it's
wow, interesting.
We say "Get Off the Bus" is a reference to Speed with 1994. Which those of you at home, I know you haven't fucking watched the episode.
Listen to the Speed episode.
Listen to the Speed episode. It's a good movie. It's a good episode. But we talk about how as soon as they get off the bus in that, like, any action scene, any sequence that is not the premise of like we're on this, if this bus goes below a certain speed, it blows up, is automatically just less interesting.
Yeah,
and less.
It's like we've dropped the high concept idea, and now it's just like a movie that's just kind of going wherever.
Now it's kind of like a generic thriller almost.
Yeah,
like
it's like, what are we doing now?
It goes into this space where like that we've kind of like heard a lot of other movies go to, like when it gets into the shit about like his mom, like, you know, like abused him or whatever, and it goes in the super typical way.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's the most generic, boring serial killer I think I've ever seen in a movie. I
think it would have been a lot better if, like... So first off, like I said, my perfect version of this movie, the whole family's at the concert with him, so we can stay at the concert longer. I don't think we ever needed to hint at his backstory as, like, why he kills.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
No. Because... honestly, like, as someone who's interested in true crime and who's watched a lot of David Fincher, including Mindhunter, this is the most boring concept of a serial killer I've ever seen. Like, this is like, because the real world stuff that you can read is way more interesting than any of this, like, faux psychological, like, he had issues with his mother shit.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of, oh man, this is going to be kind of mean. It reminds me a lot of like project films, like contest movies that I've seen, where like the premise is serial killer, and it's just like a super like base level
version.
Concept of like, ooh, what if we do a serial killer? And they don't really have anything interesting to say about serial killers. They're just like, the concept is serial killer, and that's interesting on its face, and let's go with that. But the specifics that they go into in this movie are just boring to me.
I feel like between this and Longlegs, serial killers are kind of having a bit of a moment.
Longlegs was at least
I feel like you could put salt
vibes. Like Longlegs was also not a great movie. That I think I like this more than Longlegs, to be honest. But I was about to say I
would
get high and watch Longlegs before I got high and watch this again.
That's funny. I vehemently disagree. I'm never gonna watch Longlegs again.
Fair enough.
Well, because just to briefly put like why I want to get this out there, why I prefer this to Longlegs. In Longlegs is just boring to me.
Fair.
As far
That's
as
why
like,
I'd get high.
Well, even if I got high, like the movie is just so lifeless. Like everything is just brown, and you could hear this all in the Longlegs review. Like brief tangent on Longlegs is like
it really wants to be Fincher, but there's also Fincher movies out there that you can watch instead.
The world of Longlegs feels so empty to me.
Yeah,
like it's supposed to.
Agree.
It's supposed to be, you know, the '90s and stuff, and like we never get. Like, when they're going through the neighborhood at the beginning of the movie, finding that first killer, there's no people around. There's never any people around.
Yeah.
Just, like, walking. Whereas, like, a big thing that I will say about Trap, which is something that I think that, like, is a showcase of M. Night Shyamalan's just ability as like a smart financial like manager.
Yeah.
In which I think in today's filmmaking world you kind of need to have the skill. Like this movie only this movie only costed $30 million, which is
super impressive.
It's that you see every cent of that money on
in
screen.
Today's economy, $30 million.
Like even just as like it was a small concert set. Like
yeah.
that small concert set by itself by another filmmaker would
and
be.
He made a competent, entertaining at parts movie on $30 million.
And there's extras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like in the hallways, like when they're going into the venue, there's just like all these extras and people. It feels like.
It's like economical, this guy.
Yeah, it's like in a real world, and that's something that you just don't see anymore. Like extra nowadays, movie budgets are either too small to have extras of any kind. Like most the quote unquote good movies are like $10 million or less right now. Is like kind of the A24 neon like world. And then if it's like a super high budget movie like a Star Wars or a Marvel movie, everything is CGI. If there are big crowds, they just composite like crowds in. You know.
Yeah. No, this is it's very very efficient filmmaking. I'll give it that. I don't know how high a praise that is, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not like the hugest thing in the world, but it is something that like
I don't really care how much money they spend.
it is one of those things where it's like it's not just the fact that he has the knowledge of it. It is also the fact that he's been making movies for a while now. Yeah. And his name does have some pull, like as far as like he like you said, he does get what he wants, you know. So with this second bit, it kind of becomes this weird little like mental battle between him and Lady Raven. Yeah. They go to his house
where she makes all the wrong decisions and I'm supposed to go on. Well,
I was going to put in like what I wanted you to expand on you know, how you don't really get a good sense of what either of them want.
Yeah, so she angles to get to his house in a room with his family, and he's got on his phone, he's like, at a press of a button, I can kill this guy who's at another location. And it's like, okay, so her goal is probably to like get the cops here and maybe like get the phone away from him. And then like mission accomplished pretty much. But no, they do this like little cat and mouse where I don't know what the fuck she's doing. She's sitting with his family and she's like, have you guys heard of this serial killer who's around?
Just goes around chopping people up.
And it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, is she trying to like convince, like kind of hint to his family that he's the serial killer and just have them like work it out? Because that's kind of dumb.
Like, what do you want them to do?
What's going to happen in that situation?
He's sitting right there. What do you expect the family to do, even if they do realize that he's the killer?
I'm not tense. I'm just confused about like what they like. Because honestly, I turned like the second he revealed himself to her, his life is over. Like he's not getting away with this. Like he's either got to disappear or kill himself. Like he's going to jail. Like he is fucked.
The only pathway.
He's on camera. He's
The only possible pathway for him to be able to get out of this is if he kills Lady Raven
in like a very secret way and covers it up perfectly.
A super secret way and because all the evidence is against him. Yeah. After that, you are the only man who fits the description of the killer that was with Lady Raven after the concert. Yeah. And we know for a fact the killer was there. We didn't find him anywhere else.
See, this is the kind of conversation that Shyamalan gives to me. It makes for me. This is the same. This is the same feeling I get with Signs, where it's like, did you not think about this when you were writing it? Yeah. She eventually does get the phone away from him, which is like cool, and she locks herself in the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, so now she's gonna call the cops, right?
This is my least favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so she can't. So now he can't kill the guy remotely because he doesn't have the phone anymore. You now have the power. You can just call the cops. And also your driver's right out there. Like, you're good. Like, this movie should end right here. He's, like, banging on the door. His family's freaking out. And what does she do? She goes on his phone. And
she goes on her phone.
Oh, she goes on her phone and starts a Facebook Live or some shit.
Instagram Live.
Like, so yeah, it starts an Instagram Live and says, Live. "Hey, there's a guy in a basement."
Hey, Raveners.
Before then, he goes. She asks the guy who's in the basement over the phone
What do you remember?
What do you remember? And that, it's like you can tell Shyamalan thought he was so fucking clever writing this, but it's like literally just call the cops and let them deal with it. You're not fucking Batman. Just you've done more than enough already. Call the cops. And I'm not pro cop, by the way.
Neither of us are.
But in this situation, I don't know what the fuck else. Like, I wouldn't start a Facebook Live. But yeah, she Instagrams her fans. Oh shit.
Hey folks, this sounds a lot different than it did a second ago.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a technical mishap.
Shyamalan curse.
A Shyamalan curse, in fact. I moved the table and accidentally spilled water all over my tiny little cheap audio interface.
Motherfucker's fried.
It is pretty fried. It was making all sorts of scary noises, so we're just recording on my MacBook laptop for the last section of this. We'll try to wrap it up real quick. Shouldn't sound too bad, but it definitely, yeah. I'm not that mad because this was pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like only $30 on Amazon. So
Rest in peace.
My big one
served us well.
I bought this specifically so that when I come to your house to record, I don't gotta lug my whole thing.
Rip.
So it served us well for a little bit.
$30 well spent.
Yeah. Anyway, so where we were at in the movie, so Lady Raven starts Instagram living to her fans, being like,
instead of calling the cops,
she's like, "Hey Raveners, hey Raveners, we're going to you need to help me find Spencer, or he's gonna die."
Yeah, it's really really dumb.
Yeah, it's my least favorite scene in the movie. Cooper,
it's like at no point does it even cross her mind. Like, it's like the most important thing in the world right now is that I deploy my fucking Instagram followers to find this house and free this. It's like, this is such a convoluted, roundabout way to solve this problem. It's insane.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. She should have just called the cops. And while this is all going on, Cooper's like banging on the bathroom door, trying to get in, and he gets rid of his family. We're assumed that he kills his family at first.
Yeah.
But then, once he takes Lady Raven in his car and opens the driveway door, his family's standing there.
Yeah.
And Lady Raven joins him, and there's a bit of a moment that's like kind of a sad moment where he's like telling his family, like, just dad shit. Like, hey, honey, the plumber's coming in on Tuesday. Don't let him rip you off.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jason, son, you finished that science project.
Yeah, stuff with school's only temporary. It's like, it's super, I think it's, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's more just creepy than anything that he's like there's a really out of place line later where he's like, I always kept my lives separate. And it's repeated to the point of like, it's trying to be like a theme of the movie, but it's just like, it's almost like Shyamalan saying something about fatherhood or some shit about family life and work life.
Well, like a lot of his, I think.
But it's right here at the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, like all the themes he kind of just crushes in. Like, if you wanted,
after the premise of the movie is already over.
If you wanted to have an elevated character piece, he should have very much
it's like pick one, dude.
Done it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, that's why my perfect version of the movie is the whole family goes to the concert with Cooper.
That would have been way better.
Yeah. So
spend the whole movie there.
Yeah. Cooper has a little final conflict with his wife. I really like this scene.
Awkward. I mean, this is after the limo scene, isn't it?
Which limo scene?
When he's Ariana Grande's limo driver.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Oh wait, no, this is.
God, what the fuck?
No, yeah, it is after that. It is after that. Yeah, there's a scene where he drives off with Lady Raven.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be a big twist that he's the driver, but I called it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's disguised as a cop.
Yeah. After the cops show up, oh man, it's just a mess, and that's another problem. It's a really good indicator of a mess of a movie when you could just slot these scenes like between each other.
Yeah, I definitely
like they leave his house and then we end up back at his house, and it's like, what was the point of that scene then?
Yeah.
Probably could just get cut out of the movie.
Yeah, pretty dumb. Pretty dumb.
It doesn't add anything.
Yeah. That scene. He sneaks away. No one catches him.
Yeah.
And once again, the Lady Raven's fans help save her. Like, oh, we have to save Lady Raven.
Yeah.
Type deal.
It's awkward.
Very awkward. But yeah, so he has this final conflict with his wife. His wife kind of reveals to him that she pretty much she tipped off the cops with the concert ticket, and that she was the she's kind of suspected he's been a serial killer for a while. You can do parkour in Hitman. We're still watching Hitman footage.
Yeah, dude,
folks.
you can climb all over these levels.
Oh, that's crazy. So he gets tased like 5 times.
Yeah.
Before he goes down.
And that also doesn't make any. I thought for a second that we were doing a split, and I was about to be extra pissed off
that he had superpowers at the end.
I wouldn't have been surprised. Just annoyed.
One of the reviews I watched for this movie did say that like they wish that the movie went in a paranormal direction.
Why?
And I'm like, no.
What's wrong with you? Yeah.
Well, they just wanted it to go to like a weirder place, I think.
I guess. Yeah, I guess it was pretty boring, like conceptually, especially at the end.
Yeah. Without
the hook, it's just like generic serial killer drama, like thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then he's getting taken away by the cops, and he goes, wait, and he fixes his daughter's bike.
Yeah.
Which you didn't catch initially. He fixes his daughter's bike as like one less dad task.
Yeah.
Which
comes OCD, which they establish, and they shoehorn in right at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the rest of the fucking movie.
Because serial killers are OCD, we find out 20 minutes at the end.
Okay.
And then it's revealed that and then that comes back in a minute, but his daughter, like his kids come back, and his daughter runs up and hugs him.
Yeah.
Like hugs him goodbye, which feels very out of place.
Yeah, it's like, why would... it just... We both felt like it was really awkward that she still wanted to run up and hug him after learning that he had a double life where he fucking tortures and kills people.
Yeah, no, definitely feels weird and out of place. But then
I feel like you probably wouldn't want to be around him very much.
Yeah, I get maybe the son didn't care. Maybe if they had something where like the daughter is like fully like, oh, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Like there's no way my dad could do those things type deal. Then it might make more sense. But we never got anything like that.
Nope.
And then the final shot of this movie is him being in the back of the cop truck, and he took a spoke out of one of those bike's wheels and uses it to it was handcuffs.
We get the movie looking at us and smiling, and thinking it's so fucking clever.
Yeah, and
even though this ending just means nothing to us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what it does is it does leave room for
a sequel,
which I feel like you could do a thing where like this character is caught in another situation.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
now that we actually know who he is.
Yeah, like what if he's stuck on a boat, a cruise ship or something? Speed 2.
Trap 2, cruise control.
Trap 2, trapped at sea.
Yeah, you could make an even worse movie.
Yeah. Or what you could do it anywhere. Trap on a spaceship.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fucking he gets frozen, sent thousands of years in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Sci-fi trapped.
Yeah. But Space Trap.
Infinite bad movie ideas.
It could spot off. And then we get a little after credit scene where Jamie, the merch stand guy, is like, he's watching the news and sees the identity of the killer. Yeah. And he's like, oh shit, that's Cooper. And that's how the movie ends. So
pretty lame right at the end.
Yeah. So I guess real quick, just your overall thoughts. Like you said, even though we have all these complaints about it, you say it's still like one of your favorite Shyamalans, which I guess didn't say much.
The bright points are the brightest I've seen from him in a while.
Yeah.
I think it's still worth a watch. I mean, I definitely I think it has value also just in the pure fact that I have so much to say about it. Mm-hmm. Whereas like a lot of movies, I just don't care. And
we would be saying more if my audio interface hadn't exploded.
Yeah. But I think that I would have liked it better if he just would have died it would have been a shitty ending, but it would have been a better movie if he just would have died in a hail of bullets trying to escape the arena.
Yeah.
It's a good Hitman movie. It's the best Hitman movie I've ever seen.
The first half of this movie is the best Hitman movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. If movies could be like an hour long, if they literally just like had ended the movie, like had it just be a short 1 hour like film.
God damn, that minimum requirement kills so many movies.
Yeah. There's a movie, I think it's labeled as a movie on Amazon Prime that Donald Glover made as like, it's kind of a long music. It's called Guava Island. Yeah. And it's only an hour long, and it's pretty good.
That sounds cool.
It does a contained thing. So yeah, if that could be the case, if people could make more interesting content like that,
people should be allowed.
Actually, one of the reviews I was listening to today said that M. Night Shyamalan, it would be great if he could direct like an episode or two of like a Twilight Zone show.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, I'd like to see him try short form content.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be a movie, M. Night. Maybe you're just not good at that.
He produced a TV show called Servant, which I've heard is pretty good.
Okay.
So maybe check
There
that
you
out.
go. I think he might have a brain for short form content.
Yeah. Prop time. What prop do you want?
Oh, God.
I know what prop I'd want.
Wow.
Kind
Yeah,
of
then
more-
you go first.
Kind of the more basic one.
Yeah.
I just want a Lady Raven shirt.
You want the merch?
I
Yeah.
just want a Lady Raven
That's
shirt.
really fair.
Yeah.
Everything's so standard in this movie. Probably just his jacket. I'd wear his Carhartt jacket.
Yeah, it is a nice Carhartt jacket.
Yeah.
He's got some nice. He has a nice sweater at the end.
Yeah.
He's wearing like a cardigan sweater.
Yeah, that's about. He's got a good wardrobe. And
Yeah.
I think he's my size, so.
Well dressed serial killer.
Yeah, you know.
For the serial killer collection.
That's what they call me.
The psycho killer collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I dug this movie. As far as M. Night Shyamalan goes, you know, he's a filmmaker that I will always kind of turn up for, see what he does next.
Fair
Even
enough.
the movies that I super hate at least have some interesting scenes. Like I always at least think about the movies I hate of his.
Yeah.
Like Lady in the Water is probably my least favorite movie of his, and I still
That manifests as frustration for me, usually, I think.
yeah, and I don't know. For me, it manifests. It's more like, well, we'll get him next time,
Yeah.
M. Night. But yeah, no, I feel like this movie. For
It's
me,
okay, buddy. You'll get another chance. You
You'll
always
get
get
it.
another fucking chance.
yeah, for me, the first half of this movie really is where it shines, and then the second half. I think the main thing you lose is just the intensity. Like,
Yeah.
the first half just has the advantage of like,
Yeah, there's like not a lot of tension after. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas like the immediate tension of it is lost. But yeah, I want to wrap it up here because I don't want people to listen to this inferior audio
We're so sorry for harassing your ears.
for so long. Yeah, it shouldn't sound that bad, but
Yeah.
we're just going into my laptop mic right now, and then no, I'm a little sad about this interface breaking.
It's a bummer.
Or well, maybe it just needs to dry out more. Try to like
Put it in some rice.
put in some rice, and then maybe it'll be good.
Who knows?
Yeah, so that's been Midnight Movie Gang. It's currently 1:48 Night Movie Gang.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. Next episode is going to be probably the next one release is going to be Battle Royale 2,
Ooh.
which I'm recording with my buddy Phil. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
have a nice night. Bye.
Bye.
So, here we go. What you can feel the childish frustrations and complexes which the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Miss Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. We grant everybody that I'm here to hold on. Oh, please tell me where this going. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How hopeless could I got in here? Please take us to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you mean,
Special agent, special agent.